Joining us now to talk about Putin's latest visit to Ukraine is political science professor Jaro Bilocerkowycz from the University of Dayton in Ohio. Professor, people are skeptical about the timeline of Putin's visit. Some don't believe it happened exactly when or where the Kremlin alleges. What's the point of the Kremlin lying about the validity of the trip?
Well, I guess in one sense, it's important to sort of look at the psychology of it. I mean, you're not only fighting a war, but there's an information war. I mean, part of the logic or rationale for Putin to visit that area, whether he did or not, is to try to boost Russian morale, political morale, military morale, prior to Ukraine's, say, counteroffensive, and also around the time of Easter. Some reports suggest he may have visited earlier than today, but only now the footage is being released, which is kind of odd. Are they that security conscious or concerned? Is it a matter of, something's fake, or he was just in some other area and they're just trying to kind of make it appear that he was in occupied Ukraine? So it's not clear exactly what's going on there. But of course, there's a contrast because Zelenskyy has gone to various war zones, hot war zones, and he's showing his courage. And so it may be a situation where Putin is trying to say, hey, he doesn't want to be outdone, and of course he is being outdone.
Both Putin and Zelensky's trips this week are believed to be attempts to strengthen the resolve of their soldiers. Do you think the frontline dedication to the cause is waning on both sides?
Definitely not on the Ukrainian side. Ukraine knows what it's fighting for, and if anything, they're probably heartened that they've been able to defend Bakhmut after 8-9 months of Russia prioritizing that area and putting all their heavy forces and troops there, and they still haven't been able to conquer it. So in that sense, it's sort of like the Alamo, and Ukraine's holding out. So I think that's a boost, even if at some point they decide to withdraw. They're sort of keeping Russia sort of contained. They can't do other things. And of course, Ukraine is hoping for that counteroffensive. So other thing I think I would mention that most people probably haven't really focused on is Yevgeny Prigozhin, that leader of the Wagner group, very influential. He on his blog posted that he thinks Russia needs to end the war lest Russia falls apart. So for such an important figure, somebody who's doing a lot of the fighting in Bakhmut and elsewhere, for him to say it, that's suggesting a real loss of morale and confidence among this very ambitious, politically important paramilitary leader. So again, that's pretty interesting, because if he's sort of losing heart, you can imagine the others, what they're feeling.
Ukraine is preparing a new counteroffensive against Russian forces. What do you think that'll look like?
Well, of course, they're not sort of telegraphing where they're going to attack, because that would be counterproductive. The expectations are either in the south or the east. The south would probably make the most sense because they want to cut off, they want to recapture and liberate areas of the south that Russia, has gained control of, Zaporizhia and Kherson. If they do that, they'll ineffectively cut off Crimea from Russia, and therefore all of a sudden Crimea will be vulnerable. I think Ukraine is also, they're projecting in the spring, maybe even in the summer, they're waiting to get enough equipment, enough ammunition, enough personnel so that they can make a push, because it's always harder to be on the offense than on the defense.
Thanks so much for joining us, Professor.
Thank you.